Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. Today's story takes us deep into the heart of a nation in revolt and into the mind of a leader thousands of miles away who is watching with growing fear. Iran's streets are erupting, anger is spilling into every major city. The chants are louder, the crowds are larger, and the determination feels different this time. What we are witnessing is not just another wave of protests. This is a nationwide uprising that threatens to shake the foundations of power in Tehran. And for Vladimir Putin, this moment has become a living nightmare. Because when people rise against an authoritarian system and refuse to step back, the consequences rarely stay contained within one country. Revolutions travel, ideas spread, fear changes sides, and that is exactly what Putin fears most. Across Iran, millions of people are no longer whispering their frustrations. They are shouting them in the streets. They are marching despite the risks. They are confronting a system that has ruled through fear for decades. From Tehran to Isfahan, from Mashhad to Shiraz, protests are breaking out with a speed and intensity that has stunned even seasoned observers of Iranian politics. What makes this uprising so dangerous for those in power is not just its size, but its spirit. These demonstrations are not asking politely for reforms. They are demanding fundamental change. People are no longer calling for better policies or new leaders within the same system. They are questioning the system itself, and once that line is crossed, there is no easy way back. Iran's streets tell a powerful story right now. Young people leading chants, women at the front of marches, workers leaving their jobs to join protests, shopkeepers closing their businesses in defiance, families standing together, knowing full well the risks they are taking. This is a movement fueled by desperation, but also by courage. For years, Iranians have endured crushing economic pressure. Inflation has eaten away at salaries. The cost of basic food items has soared. Rent is unaffordable. Fuel shortages disrupt daily life. Savings have been wiped out as the national currency continues to lose value. Even those who once lived comfortably now struggle to survive. But economic pain alone does not explain the scale of this revolt. Beneath the financial crisis lies something deeper and more explosive, a complete collapse of trust. Millions of Iranians feel betrayed by a system that promised dignity, independence, and justice, but delivered corruption, isolation, and repression. State institutions are widely seen as serving a small elite rather than the people. Over time, fear has stopped working as a tool of control. For decades, the Iranian regime relied on surveillance, intimidation, arrests, and violence to suppress dissent. And for a long time it worked. People stayed silent because the cost of speaking out felt too high. But today, many Iranians feel that silence is no longer safer than resistance. When people believe they have no future under the current system, fear loses its power. Social media has played a critical role in accelerating this shift. Despite internet shutdowns and heavy censorship, videos and images from the protests continue to spread. The world is seeing raw, unfiltered scenes of defiance and brutality. Every attempt to hide the truth only fuels more anger. Every crackdown creates new resolve. The government's response has been predictable, but increasingly ineffective. Security forces flood the streets. Protesters are arrested. Internet access is restricted. State media dismisses demonstrators as criminals or foreign agents. But these tactics no longer silence the population. Instead, they deepen resentment and push more people into the streets. Perhaps the most dangerous development for the regime is the growing strain within its own enforcement structures. Maintaining control over a population of millions requires absolute loyalty from police, military, and paramilitary forces. But loyalty weakens when morale collapses, when pay loses value to inflation, and when individuals are ordered to act against their own communities. History shows that authoritarian systems rarely fall because of protesters alone. They fall when the people rise and the system hesitates. When cracks appear at the top, when elites argue, when security forces question orders, even small signs of hesitation can trigger rapid collapse once momentum builds. Now, this is where Vladimir Putin's fear becomes central to the story. Putin is not just observing Iran out of diplomatic interest. He is watching because what happens in Iran could directly threaten his own grip on power. Iran is one of Russia's most important allies in a world where Moscow is increasingly isolated. Both countries face heavy sanctions. Both define themselves in opposition to Western influence. Both rely on centralized authority, controlled media, and security forces to maintain internal stability. The partnership between Russia and Iran is built on shared interests and shared vulnerabilities. Iran has provided Russia with military cooperation, strategic support, and political alignment at critical moments. Russia, in return, has offered Iran diplomatic protection, weapons expertise, and a seat at key global tables. Together, they form part of a broader axis pushing back against Western dominance. If the Iranian regime collapses, this axis is severely weakened. From Putin's perspective, the immediate risks are enormous. A new government in Tehran could dramatically shift Iran's foreign policy. Military cooperation with Russia could end overnight. Diplomatic alignments could change. Sanctions could be lifted. Energy markets could be reshaped. Russia could lose influence, leverage, and strategic depth in one of the world's most important regions. But beyond these practical concerns lies something far more dangerous: the psychological impact. Putin understands that authoritarian power depends heavily on perception, on the belief that the system is permanent, that resistance is pointless, that change is impossible. A successful uprising in Iran would shatter that belief. It would prove that even a heavily militarized, ideologically entrenched regime can be challenged by its own people. That message would not stop at Iran's borders. Russia itself is under immense strain. Years of conflict, sanctions, and economic pressure have taken a toll. Living standards are under pressure. Casualties weigh heavily on families. Censorship has intensified. Political opposition has been crushed. But beneath the surface, dissatisfaction simmers. Large-scale protests may not be visible in Russia right now, but discontent exists. And discontent combined with inspiration can be explosive. Putin's greatest fear is not foreign invasion. It is internal awakening. It is his own population seeing that change is possible elsewhere and asking why it cannot happen at home. This is why Russian state media treats Iran's protests with caution. Coverage is limited. The scale of the unrest is downplayed. The narrative avoids any suggestion that the regime is vulnerable. Silence and distortion are tools meant to prevent dangerous ideas from spreading. But in today's world, information is difficult to contain. The Iranian uprising also carries profound implications for the Middle East and beyond. Iran has long been a central player in regional politics, shaping conflicts, supporting allies, and influencing power balances. A weakened or transformed Iran would alter regional dynamics in unpredictable ways. Some governments fear instability. Others quietly hope for reduced tensions and new opportunities. Global powers are watching closely. Calculations are being made behind closed doors. Markets react. Diplomatic channels buzz with activity. Moments like this force the world to confront uncomfortable questions about stability, legitimacy, and power. For the Iranian people, however, these global calculations mean little compared to the reality on the ground. They are risking their lives for a chance at dignity and freedom. The outcome is uncertain. The road ahead is dangerous. Revolutions are messy, painful, and unpredictable. Even if the current uprising does not immediately topple the regime, it has already changed Iran forever. Fear has been broken. Silence has been shattered. A generation has discovered its voice. And once people experience that power, it is almost impossible to erase. This is the true nightmare for Vladimir Putin and for authoritarian leaders everywhere. Not chaos, not instability, but possibility. The possibility that systems built on fear can fall. The possibility that people can reclaim their future. The possibility that power is not as permanent as it appears. Iran's streets are in revolt, and the echoes of that revolt are being heard far beyond Tehran. They are heard in Moscow. They are heard in other capitals ruled by fear. They are heard wherever leaders depend on silence to survive. History is unfolding in real time. What happens next will shape not only Iran's future, but the global balance of power for years to come. And while the final outcome remains uncertain, one thing is already clear. The world has entered a moment that cannot be undone. If you found this analysis valuable, make sure to subscribe to the channel, share this video, and stay informed. These are the kinds of moments that define eras, and understanding them matters. Thank you for watching. Stay aware, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next video.